Welcome to the road to 1 million US dollars. Let's get right into the Bitcoin chart for today, because what we can see right now is actually this symmetrical triangle pattern with a descending level of resistance and ascending level of support, forming this symmetrical triangle pattern. And this pattern isn't a bullish bias or bearish bias pattern, so it can break out to the upside as well as to the downside. Either way, so in the case that we do get a breakout to the upside, it would actually set up this massive price target of 73.9K, roughly speaking. However, in the case that we do see a breakout below this ascending line of support, well, in that case, it would set up a price target of roughly 63,000 US dollars for the Bitcoin price. And ultimately, this pattern will break out before the 28th, which is already in 2 days. So therefore, I will keep tracking this in my video tomorrow and the day after that. But of course, it doesn't have to wait until the 28th to actually break out. For example, if this pullback continues and it just breaks out to the downside, it can break out way earlier than this final point right here. Now, one thing you must consider for this breakout before I actually get to the support and resistance levels here is actually that, for example, if we get a breakout to the upside here, the point of the breakout in this case is 69.2K, and therefore it would set up this price target of about 74K. However, in the case that you see the price trade below the point of the breakout again, so with confirmed candle closes on at least the 4-hour time frame, in that case, it would actually invalidate the pattern, meaning that you need to cross off this price target in the case that you see a move up, then down or back into the range or just below this point of the breakout in general. It invalidates this pattern. And of course, the opposite is true on this move to the downside. So if it breaks out, you have the point of the breakout right here. And then if it trades above the point of the breakout, once again, it invalidates this price target and it is no longer active. Now getting into the support and resistance levels for Bitcoin. First of all, Bitcoin is right now in a big level of resistance, which is sitting from 68.5K all the way up to 70,000 US dollars. But in the case that you do see the price trade above that 70K level, in that case, the next big level of resistance is right here from 71K all the way up to $73,000 for the Bitcoin price. Though in terms of resistance, there is one more level that you need to keep an eye on, which is actually this descending channel, because as of the time of recording, the level of resistance is sitting at 70.8K. And if Bitcoin waits until tomorrow to reach this price level potentially, well, in that case, the level of resistance is already a little bit lower. So here you can see it's at 70.7K. So it is important to keep track of this because the 70.7K level would already be right here before this big level of resistance. Either way, if we do get a further pullback to the downside here, of course, we do have this ascending level of resistance, which as of the time of recording is sitting at 67.9K. But in the case that you do see the Bitcoin price trade below that level, then the next level of support below that is this short-term level of support sitting at 67.2K. But if you see the price trade below that level, it will likely fall into this next big level of support, which is sitting from 66K all the way down to 65,000 US dollars. One last thing I'll say about this pattern right here for this video today is that we could see a fake out to the downside here where we trade up to this level and then trade back inside the range, only to then eventually break out to the upside from there, because this 67.2K level is quite significant when you take a look at the Fibonacci levels, because the 67.2K level is actually the 0.618 Fibonacci level, which is usually a big level of support in the case that we are trading above it. So for example, right here, we got this sharp pullback recently and then started trading to the upside as soon as we found some support at that exact Fibonacci level. So in the case that you do see a further pullback from here, it is actually critical to pay attention to this 0.618 Fibonacci level sitting at approximately 67.2K. Because like I said, you can get a bounce from there and it would invalidate that symmetrical triangle pattern and potentially still break out to the upside like I was saying earlier. So now taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat maps, first of all, on the 24-hour time frame, you can see that Bitcoin is basically in the process of sweeping a lot of liquidity to the downside right here in the immediate short term, with liquidity sitting as low as 68.4K. However, there's also a lot of liquidity to the upside in this immediate short term right here, sitting at 70,000 US dollars. However, since there is a lot of liquidity to the upside and to the downside, we need to zoom out a little bit to get a better understanding of what to expect in terms of liquidations. Because in the case that you are not familiar with this chart, typically the Bitcoin price gets attracted to where there is the most liquidity on this chart. So where there are the most yellow areas on this chart. Now taking a look at this 1 week time frame on the Bitcoin liquidation heat maps, you can see that there is a lot of liquidity to the upside and to the downside once again. However, it is very clear that most of the liquidity is in fact to the upside, sitting all the way up at 72.1K. And we're talking about $700 million worth of people that are shorting the Bitcoin price that will lose their money on their trade in the case that the price goes to this level. So that is a significant amount of leverage that will get flushed out of the market. However, at the same time, we also have a lot of liquidity sitting at 66K with, in fact, about $600 million worth of leverage liquidity that is sitting at about 66.1K. And this is quite normal to see, where you have a lot of liquidity on both sides whenever Bitcoin is consolidating in one of those triangle patterns that I was showing earlier right here. So as of right now, the most important price action that you need to pay attention to is actually this point of the breakout and this point of the breakout right here. And of course, it can be at any point from now until the 28th. Now, there is one more thing that you should be paying attention to in the immediate short term, which is actually this CME gap sitting at about 68.5K. Because in the case that you are not familiar with Bitcoin CME gaps, typically they tend to get filled early on in the next week of trading. So right here, the market closed on Friday. And when the market opens on Monday and you see the price trading here, for example, likely it will first fill that CME gap before then making its next move. And the same is true if Bitcoin is trading on the downside right here when the market opens, because then it will first fill that CME gap once again, but then to the upside and then make its next move either to the upside or to the downside from there. So that is just very important to pay attention to, because it doesn't always have to get filled. Someone was saying in my comments yesterday that I said that. No, a CME gap doesn't have to get filled 100% of the time, but most of the time the CME gaps do get filled. And we're talking about like 95 to 90% of CME gaps getting filled. So therefore it is, in my opinion, a very important indicator to pay attention to when the market opens. Now taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame. A couple of weeks ago, Ethereum got rejected from the 0.786 Fibonacci level, sitting at $4,000, and then traded all the way to the downside to the 0.5 Fibonacci level, sitting at approximately 2860. However, when we got that bullish Ethereum ETF news suddenly getting approved when no one was expecting it, all of that bullish momentum got priced in right away. We just blasted through this 0.618 Fibonacci level. And right now, Ethereum really looks to be gunning for that 0.786 Fibonacci level once again. So this is a critical level to pay attention to in terms of resistance. So again, at $4,000, because not only is this a big psychological level, it is also the Fibonacci level where last time we actually got rejected from that level. So therefore, really pay attention to this right here. Now taking a look at this falling wedge pattern for Ethereum, which I called out perfectly on my channel when we were trading down here, saying it will eventually break out to the upside, because that is simply the case for falling wedge patterns. And then it did, and we got a very nice move to the upside right here, hitting our first price target at approximately 36.70. And the final price target for this pattern right here is sitting approximately or quite close to $4,100 for Ethereum, which is a move of over $1,000 to the upside. So I'm sure that all of you guys who took this trade down here at the point of the breakout when I called it in my videos are in some good profits on those trades right now. Now let's take a look at Ethereum on the 1 hour time frame, so I can show you exactly what you should be paying attention to in terms of the price levels in the immediate short term. So first of all, let's talk about the levels of support here. We do have this big level of support sitting from 3,800 all the way down to 3750 for Ethereum. And this was a previous level of resistance that, after some chopping around right below it, we then broke through and now have confirmed candle closes above it. So therefore it has now flipped it into a level of support. But in the case that we do see Ethereum get rejected from this level of resistance right here, sitting at 3850, and actually we see a pullback which trades below the 3750 level, well, in that case, it is quite likely that we will trade to this next level of support below that, sitting at 3650. But I do think that is about it for the bearish scenarios for now, unless of course we see Bitcoin break down from that symmetrical triangle pattern that I was talking about earlier in the video. Either way, if Ethereum clears this level at 3850, likely we will go up to the next level of resistance above that, which is this previous high sitting at 3920. And if Ethereum clears that and also trading above this previous high right here at 3950, well, in that case, it will likely go up to the next level of resistance above that, which is sitting at $4,000, all the way up to $4,100 for the price of Ethereum. But of course, keep in mind this Fibonacci level right here at $4,000, like I was talking about earlier, because that is actually the critical level to break right there. Now taking a look at Solana on the 4-hour time frame, which did not manage to clear above the 0.786 Fibonacci level recently on this pump to the upside, after which it traded below the 0.618 Fibonacci level, losing it as a level of support, and traded all the way to the 0.5 Fibonacci level, where right now we are actually trading on it / a little bit below it. So it's actually critical that we trade above this very, very soon. Because if I take a look at the daily time frame here, we have not had a daily confirmed candle close below that level. So it is actually critical that we hold above that 163 level for Solana, because in the case that we lose this as a daily level of support, we would immediately also lose it as a weekly level of support, since this is the last day in the week. So therefore, it is actually really important to close above 163. And taking a look at the support and resistance levels for Solana on the 4-hour time frame, and my call from the recent video when we were trading down here was actually spot on, because when we traded to the upside, I told you guys, if we lose this as a level of support, then likely we will see a lot of bearish momentum, because it would indicate a reversal of the trend. And wow, did we get that? Because I think from the point of the breakout below, we already saw about a 9% move to the downside here. However, what we can see in the chart right now is actually that we have this descending line of resistance. And I do think that at some point we will be breaking out above this trend line. So let's take a look at the support and resistance levels for Solana right now. On the 4-hour time frame, we have actually confirmed a 4-hour candle close below this level of support at $164. Now, of course, we do have that Fibonacci level sitting at 163, as I was talking about earlier in the video. Though in the case that we do trade below that, then likely we will go to this next level of support, which is sitting at $160. And if we get some really bearish momentum, for example, by Bitcoin, again, because of that potential breakdown of the symmetrical triangle pattern, well, in that case, if we lose the 160 level of support, Solana will likely fall into this next big level of support, which is sitting at 150, all the way down to $140 for the price of Solana. But that is about it for the bearish scenarios for Solana, because if we clear above this $164 level, the next big level of resistance is going to be this trend line that I was talking about earlier. And in the case that we do break out above that level, then that could be a signal that the trend is potentially reversing back to the upside. And this could be somewhat soon as well, because the RSI momentum indicator was overbought recently, but then traded all the way to the downside and is now sitting at 35. And in the case that you are not familiar, whenever the RSI is below 30, it means that Solana is in oversold territory, and typically there is limited room to the downside at that point. So most likely what you'll see is just some choppy sideways price action for Solana, or even some bullish price action. So if we get some choppy sideways price action, you will slowly see that RSI reset. And if we get some bullish momentum, then the RSI will reset back around that 50 level more quickly, and in fact even go above the 50 level, because whenever the RSI is above 50, it means that we are in an uptrend. And you can see on this 1-hour time frame as well that again we reached oversold territory pretty much. We basically touched this line right here. Usually this just means that there is limited room to the downside in the immediate short term. And like I was saying, if we, for example, get a bounce or something like that, trading above this level of resistance, well, in that case, it might indicate a reversal of the trend. And the next level of resistance above that, in the case that we do get that breakout right here, would be from 167 all the way up to 171 for the price of Solana, with the next big level of resistance, in the case that we do break above that 171 level, being all the way at 177. up to $181 for the price of Solana. So those are the key levels that you need to watch right now. Now, if you enjoy my videos, but you want to get access to my real-time thoughts on the market, you can now do that because recently I opened up a trading signals channel inside the Discord server. All you need to do is go to the description of this video and join the Discord community, which you can do with the first link that you find in the description. And once you're in here and verified, simply go to this Trading Signals Access channel, and here you can find all the information on how to get access to my trading signals for free, because all you need to do is register to MEXC or Bluefin, which are crypto exchanges. And if you start trading on there, not only do you get access to my trading signals, for example, Bluefin right now has a great deposit bonus for everyone who signs up today. In fact, this promotion ends on May 28th at 10 a.m. UTC time. So that is actually very, very soon. And not only that, it's also only for the first 100 users who register with this link that you can find in the video description, as well as inside the Discord server. So if you do want to claim these deposit bonuses, as well as get access to my trading signals for free, then I highly recommend you do it sometime actually soon, because otherwise either the spots will run out or you don't have enough time to deposit in time, because like I said, it ends on May 28th. Either way, if you do want to get access to the signals or not, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching once again, and I will see you tomorrow in the next one.